So now we're on 2.5. So on 2.5, I'm going to discuss you about the complaint policy. So from 2.1, the kitchen workers comment scenario demonstrate gender-based discrimination, which is both inappropriate in violation of workplace regulation in Australia. The regulation that advances fairness and disallows segregation in light of orientation is the Sex Separation of Act 1984. This act, account of their orientations or sex, it is vital to resolve the issue by teaching um, the kitchen hand on the limitations of people in the work environment, advancing a culture of regard and fairness, and isn't endured to underscore that such oppressive way of behaving in that situation. So in 2.3, the stop part's remarks exhibit of absence of understanding and sympathy towards Muhammad's correspondence style and strict practices. In Australian working environments are supposed to encourage inclusivity and variety regarding people's social foundation and strict convictions. So, are supposed to encourage inclusivity, as I said, and the variety regarding people's social foundation and strict convictions. The regulation that upholds strict opportunity and safeguards against segregation in light of religion in Australia is the Racial Separation Act 1975 in Australia Common Liberties Commission of 1986. And then the next one is 2.6. So, by our self review based on collected feedback of self reflections of every scenarios, I have here 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. This is under of 2.6 activity. After you have, I'm gonna read it about the activity about it. After you have completed all your meetings and two follow-up sessions, scenarios 2.1, 2.3, collect the feedback from the colleagues from the role plays and use the space below and record the feedback. So explain feedback was positive, if any improvements would be suitable for any role plays, and if you would do anything differently next time. So this will be the self-review based on collected feedback and self-reflection scenarios. So for scenario 2.1, so the methodology was compelling in tending to the orientation-based separation issue. The data on the Sex Segregation Act was useful in raising my mindfulness generation discrimination in the workplace requires more specific illustrations or case studies. Scenario 2, the awareness towards Nazarene language boundaries was valued by me because um, the conversation of obligating the language boundaries, and it was clever to offer help. So it needs to offer more valuable arrangements or assets for further developing Nazarene's language abilities. And then for the scenario 2.3, I was able to gain deeper appreciation for cultural and regulations differences as a result of the session. The data on enemy of segregation as a result of the session. The data of enemy of segregation regulation was important. Incorporate more intuitive exercises or gathering conversations to advance dynamic commitment and learning. And scenario 2.4, the methodology actually addressed the worries connected with peers distribution or distributed rest periods, the conversation of sensible facilities and effect on efficiency was instructive, and it needs to make it clearer how to manage workload redistribution and during peers rest periods. And for the other comments or relevant comments that I gathered as a self reflections for these scenarios and collected feedbacks. In the highlight of the feedback that I've got, the general reaction to the pretends was positive. So the data gave was for the most past supportive. It brings issues to light of significant regulations in advancing comprehension of reasonable way of behaving in working environment consumptions, notwithstanding upgrades can be made and by consolidating the more ambiguous models down to earth arrangements and initiative components to improve commitment and learning. That's all. Thank you.